Hey guys, welcome back. We are actually headed to the range today. We're supposed to have gone yesterday, but I ended up throwing a kind of a last minute anniversary party for my parents, so now we're going to go to the range today. And I'm going to take the 6.5 PRC. Haven't shot it yet. I've only got 13 rounds of ammo for it that the guy gave me with the rifle. So I'm gonna zero it with the scope on there and put the Strike Eagle 5 to 25 56 on it. I'm gonna do my best to bore sight it first, and then hopefully we can get it sighted in without spending all 13 rounds up. But plan is to bore sight it, send one round, do the adjustments the way I need to, and then shoot probably shoot a 3 or 4, maybe a 5-shot group, and hopefully have a handful of rounds left over after that, just in case I decide to hunt with it after Christmas when we get our little 3-day hunt going. But other than that, I'm also going to take out the new SIG P320 X10 10mm. I haven't shot it yet, and I'm going to get back into reloading it, because when I first started reloading, that was the cartridge that I reloaded first, was the 10mm auto. And I'm wanting to, now that I got another 10mm, I'm going to get back into reloading it. And yeah, we'll just have fun with it. That's going to be a fun gun to reload for. The 10mm is a pretty potent round for a semi-auto platform, you know. Without, you know, with a comfortably sized handgun. I mean, obviously there's much more powerful ones, in like the Desert Eagle with the 44 mag or the 50 AE and that sort of thing. But one that's in a normal sized handgun that you know, can easily be operated by just about any size hand. The 10mm is probably about as good as it gets, I would say. I mean, there's a lot of people that would argue around a couple other rounds, but I mean, when you're talking about getting upwards of 700 foot-pounds of energy out of a handgun round, out of a semi-auto round, and being able to carry like 15 plus 1, 16 rounds in the gun, that's a pretty impressive amount of firepower for a handgun. So 10mm originally designed for the FBI, and then later they determined that it was too difficult for smaller framed agents, mainly women, to get good follow-up shots with it, and the recoil wasn't as easily managed by even some of the other guys in there. So they decided to get away from 10mm, and then later Smith & Wesson adopted and trimmed the case down and come up with the 40 Smith & Wesson. For those of y'all that didn't know how that worked out, the 10mm actually came first, and then the 40 Smith & Wesson was then adopted by the FBI, and several other law enforcement agencies around the world still use it and prefer to use it. So, but the 10mm is the big brother. You know, the original cartridge design for the 10mm was a 200 grain bullet traveling at 1,200 feet per second. Now, you got companies like Underwood and Buffalo Bore and stuff out there, and they produce some pretty hot rounds, like in the 220 grain area, that are still going 1,200 feet per second. And then there's some other cartridge companies that make really light bullets that shoot really fast. For instance, me personally, when I like to reload the 10mm, I like to go with a 130 to 140 grain hollow point, and I like to load it to about 1600, somewhere between 1600 and 1700 feet per second. And so you get really up there in like the 650 foot-pound range, maybe 670, and you get a really fast projectile. It shoots really flat. You know, making shots out to 100 yards is pretty easy. So it's definitely one of my favorite cartridges to reload for a handgun, and the recoil on it's not that bad. It's much more comfortable, even though it's producing as much power as a 357 Magnum in most cases, if not maybe a little more. The recoil, the way it recoils in a full-size, you know, automatic or semi-automatic handgun is much more manageable than those little compact snub-nosed 357 Magnum pistols, which I've got a couple of those. So yeah, you get 357 power with more capacity, like more than double the capacity, sometimes triple the capacity of a 357 revolver. Same amount of power and less recoil. So it's a pretty gnarly round. Definitely one of my favorites of all time. So with that being said, I'm on my way over the range. We're going to stretch this PRC out. Well, we're not really stretch it out. We're going to get lined out and hopefully shoot a group with it and see what happens. I don't have a bipod on it yet, so I'm going to probably shoot it in the lead sled, which isn't necessary for this gun because it still weighs about 20 pounds and it's a 6.5 PRC, so the recoil is supposedly, I was told, is like almost non-existent. So I'm just gonna shoot it in the sled and use it just for you know, just for a rest to shoot the gun in. I'm not gonna need any sandbags or shot bags for it or anything. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. We'll see you guys at the range in just a few. Alright guys, so we're back and we're going to take a look at this target. I shot a total of 8 rounds, 3 to get on target, and 5 for getting a group, and this is my group target at 100 yards. And it is shooting 2 inches high, and that's because I didn't fix the zero stop on the rifle. So it was set for the 338 Lapua, so it's shooting 2 inches high out of the 6.5 Creedmoor at the bottom adjustment. So I'm going to go ahead and go from center of this tallest spot to the center of the lowest one, and we'll just overlay that, and we're at a 0.614 inch vertical spread. And then on the widest round here in the middle to the other widest round there at the bottom, we'll go center to center on those as best we can. That's about right. And we're at 0.323. If y'all can see that, and hopefully you agree, we're at 0.323. So it's a pretty small group. Considering this barrel is not even close to being broken yet. It's got, I don't know, 50 rounds shot through it, give or take. Probably less than that. So I only shot 13 rounds total through it since receiving the rifle, and or no, I actually didn't. I only shot 8 rounds total through it, and 5 of those are right here in this group. So the other 3 were actually just getting it on paper. And like I said, the reason why it's shooting 2 inches high has to do with I didn't reset the zero stop, and the scope originally was mounted on a 338 Lapua, so it's going to shoot a little bit different, you know. Anyways, I'll fix that at some point, and then I'll go back out and we're going to retest. The ammunition I used to shoot this group was Norma 143 grain open tip match ammo. I think it's about the cheapest 6.5 PRC ammo you can actually get a hold of these days, but as you can tell, it's a pretty promising load. Out of this rifle, it's a 27-inch preferred barrel blank in a custom 110 Savage Action. The barrel was hand lapped by Preferred, and it is in an MDT chassis. So it's not quite broken in yet. It's only got about 50 or 60 rounds through it, but it's shooting some. It's already shooting like it's shooting a really good group, and I can't really complain with that. That's better than the 338 ever shot for me, personally. So hopefully this rifle is going to show some promise, and I may get to really stretch it out and see what it can do. It's what I'm really hoping, because I know you guys have been following me for a while and really wanting to see some long range stuff here in Arkansas, but I haven't been able to because I haven't really gotten a rifle that's really shooting this good. Now the 6.5 Creedmoor is getting in the same area as far as performance. I'm getting similar performance out of it, but what I'm hoping with the 6.5 PRC is that I get a little bit higher velocity and a little bit flatter shooting, a little more range out of it. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. So thanks for watching. I got to get back into loading some more ammo. Still trying to go through my 6.5 Creedmoor brass. Been going at it kind of slow, about 50 rounds every couple days or so, just loading it. I hadn't been shooting any of it, but I just hadn't been loading a lot of it. So anyways, we'll see you guys next time in the next video. Thanks for watching.